Have you ever just wished you could create a formula for finding the perfect person? You know, take all the guesswork, all the messy feelings, and just boil it all down to data. Well, we're about to explore the story of one woman who actually tried to do that, turning her entire love life into one big experiment.
So let's start with the number, 25. That's not an age, it's not a score. It is the number of dates our protagonist, Ava, went on in her super methodical, data-driven quest for love in New York City. Yeah. 25 first impressions, 25 potential partners, 25 case studies.
And this sentiment right here, it just perfectly captures her whole vibe. Maybe I need a Nobel Prize for effort. You can just feel that mix of total exhaustion, a little bit of humor, and just sheer will. For Ava, this wasn't just dating anymore. It was a serious research project.
So picture this. Ava. She's this successful professional, sitting in her office looking out over that glittering New York skyline. But she's not working on a business plan. Nope. She is tackling the one part of her life that just refuses to cooperate, her romantic life. And her tool of choice? A spreadsheet. A very, very detailed spreadsheet.
And right away, this whole approach created two very different points of view. While Ava was grimly calling her tracker the spreadsheet of shame, her friend Kara had a much more optimistic take. She called it Love in Cells, Finding Romance One Filter at a Time. It's that classic conflict, isn't it? Seeing data as a record of your failures versus seeing it as a map to find future success.
Okay, so what did this whole romantic research project actually turn up? Let's dive into the raw data. The trials, the tribulations, the stuff that was actually filling up all those cells, because this is where the patterns really start to pop.
And this is where you can really see the learning process in action. Every single date, no matter how much of a disaster it was, it gave her a crucial data point. Charles and his, let's say, outdated views taught her that core values absolutely have to align. Liam arguing over a cup of coffee showed her that, yeah, financial stability actually matters. Marco's little tantrum over tiramisu, a huge lesson in emotional maturity. And Eric, who brought his mom along, well, that made it pretty clear that independence is a must-have. Every failure was actually a step forward.
This one might be my favorite. This was her summary after a date with Greg, a financial advisor who was so obsessed with budgeting that he literally calculated the tip down to the decimal point. It's hilarious, right? But it's also a super insightful observation about a clear personality clash. But here's the thing. It wasn't just about dodging the really obvious deal breakers. Ava's experiment was also about understanding all the nuance, the subtle differences in energy and ambition and lifestyle that really determine if you're actually compatible with someone. Just take the case of Jake. On paper, he seems great. He's active, he's enthusiastic, he even planned a fun date at a trampoline park. But in reality, their vibes were a total mismatch. While he's asking about going skydiving next, all she can think is, I really need a nap. And that was a huge realization. There's a very fine line between energetic and just plain exhausting. The data point here wasn't about a red flag, it was about a fundamental mismatch in energy.
So after collecting all this data, the good, the bad, and the exhausting, it was time for the analysis phase. Ava started turning all these lessons into an actual, actionable algorithm for what she was really looking for in a partner.
And the results were incredibly clear. Every negative experience directly pointed to a positive trait she needed to look for. Charles's outdated values became a requirement for a modern outlook. Liam's financial instability turned into a search for financial responsibility. Eric's overbearing mom created a non-negotiable need for healthy boundaries. She was systematically building her ideal partner profile, one data point at a time.
And this, right here, is the core insight of her entire experiment. That spreadsheet wasn't some monument to her failures. It was really an act of self-discovery. By getting super clear on what she didn't want, she gained this incredible clarity on what she truly did want and what she needed.
But, as we all know, life and love are never quite that simple. Just as Ava was getting all this clarity, some outside variables started to really complicate the equation. I mean, no algorithm operates in a vacuum, right?
First, a massive crisis hits at work. A huge flaw is found in a major product that she's leading, and it puts her career and the company's future on the line. The stress is it's a constant, high-stakes pressure cooker.
And at the exact same time, the emotional weight of her dating experiment comes crashing down. 25 dates, and not a single real connection.
The spreadsheet that was supposed to empower her suddenly feels like this giant monument to her romantic failures. She is basically fighting a war on two fronts.
And this is where the limits of a purely data-driven approach become so clear. When you're completely overwhelmed, a spreadsheet can't offer you any comfort. What you really need is a support system, that critical, unquantifiable variable her tracker could never, ever account for.
And that is exactly what her friend Ryan provides. He doesn't offer a solution, he doesn't offer more data, he offers perspective and validation. His words just cut through all the noise of failure and remind her of her own strength. It's the kind of emotional support that no algorithm can ever generate.
So, with her algorithm refined and her perspective steadied by her friends, the stage is pretty much set. But you know, every good experiment has to introduce a new, unknown variable to really test the hypothesis. Just as she's trying to navigate all this chaos, an email lands in her inbox. It's about a tech conference she's supposed to be speaking at. And as she's scanning the list of attendees, one name just sort of jumps out at her, setting the stage for the next chapter. Damian Hayes, a powerful, kind of mysterious figure in her industry. Now, he's not someone from an app or a setup. He's a totally unexpected variable, a wild card, who's about to walk right into her experiment. Which leaves us with the central question of this entire thing. Ava did everything right to create a logical framework for love. She gathered the data, she analyzed the patterns, she built her algorithm. But can love ever really be solved like a math problem? Or is the real answer found in making space for that one unpredictable variable you never ever see coming?